Well, I think I remember you saying in another interview that you've failed most of your running career and then started to find a modicum of success. Do you feel like that? I don't know how you define failure, but do you feel like that series of not necessarily meeting your own expectations set you up to be like more ready to just continue no matter what?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had a few issues. I mean, one, I'm very injury prone. Like
Hmm.
I'm dealing with something right now. I'm actually supposed to run the same marathon my brother Josh is supposed to run on
Okay.
September 21st. I'm going to run the damn thing, but it will not be 100% optimal preparation. So there's that, and that, early on, I a lot of my injuries were just, or at least some of them were my own fault, just stupid mistakes. But,
Hmm.
I'm not an idiot. I stopped making the stupid mistakes and I would still get injured. So a lot of the failure had to do with that, like not always making it to the start line,
Okay.
uh, not always making it to the finish line once I started.
Hmm.
But then, my mental game had to evolve as well. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I ran my fastest marathon at 46, having done my first marathon at 28.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean that I think that was only possible because I had never reached my potential in my 30s. I lost some of my best years
Yeah.
to injury. So I think that's part of it, but part of it is just also um, I have learned a lot. I mean, I have just I have a ton of experience at this point. I did my second Ironman this spring, having done my one previous Ironman 17 years before,
Hmm.
and I destroyed my time from when I was 31 at 48.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why, like a lot of, I've had like a lot of unfinished business, and I have been able in recent years to sort of clean that up,
Yeah.
which has been super satisfying. I still look back on the whole arc of my, career as a runner, thinking what might have been. But
I think it's hard not to do that, no, for anybody.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, you have to be at peace with it too, because so many
Yeah.
people. I remember recently Bernard Lagat uh, saying like he's like embarrassed about his mile PR. I think like his PR
Uh-huh.
mile. I mean, you think about all that dude has achieved, but you know what? He wasn't. He had a point. It's really not even that good. I think it's like
Yeah.
3:47. He just didn't run the mile that often. Like
Right.
I think he ran 3:27 for 1,500 meters. Well,
Hmm.
not many people in history have ever done that, but he just only had so many chances. And when he looks back at, you can't be a competitor and not have that. It's if you have a high bar, it's a high bar, and you're just going to
Right.
beat yourself up about having run only a 3:47 mile.
Right. There's something that's still nagging at you. Like, no, I like 5,000, 5,000, 10,000. Really great at those, but no, like I should have spent more time on Yeah, you can't do it all. But yeah, when you have that competitive mindset, there's definitely going to be something where you feel like, I didn't leave 100% out there, or there was some little kernel of extra speed I could have gotten
Right.
somewhere on that course. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that kind of reminds me. So like, I really like. I haven't yet picked up 80/20 running, but I can kind of get the idea because the Pareto principle shows up everywhere. Um, but you had mentioned in another interview having fun basically 80% of the time, and then really needing to suffer 20% of the time to kind of maximize your potential as an athlete. Does that same ratio show up in terms of that mental preparation that you need?
Yeah. The physical and the mental are two different 80/20s, I would say, because at least speaking for myself, and I think a lot of athletes are the same way, the workouts I most enjoy are the hardest ones. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So I love a good, easy long bike ride or run, but the ones like I just, I circle the calendar and just can't wait are the ones where I'm just going to turn myself inside out. And I don't know it's not masochism. It's just like, it's fun to go fast. Like,
Right.
and it it is fun to not suffer, but to master suffering, to like, to just put yourself in the fire and not blink. There's just, to me, it's interesting, it's engaging, and I feel at home there after I've built a home there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. So it can become tempting. Well, would I want to do that every day, like a CrossFit type of thing, like, like 100% every workout? No way. Part of the
Yeah.
reason the hard workouts are enjoyable is that you only get to do so many of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got to go easy 80% of the time, but that's not necessarily the fun part. Like for me, most of the fun is in the 20%.
Yeah. That reminds me of it. I don't know who wrote this article, but it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being you. I had this article saved for a long time. In the title basically captures the whole thing. It says, your hard days are too easy and your easy days are too hard. Like everybody's trying to, like, people go to this like medium speed instead of really like making this dichotomy where, okay, you're taking it easy because it's recover, and then here's that special day where like it's time to like really suffer and get to that next fitness level.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, they will, when they have sort of a shallow exposure to my 80/20
Mm,
concept, which is really Steven Seiler's 80/20 concept. Um, they think, okay, he's saying we got to slow down, that our easy days are too hard. But people who get stuck in that moderate intensity rut, which is really mainly a function of just thinking the mentality, every time I get out the door, it's got to count. And
hmm
people can't understand how it could possibly count if it's really easy and comfortable.
hmm
But the trouble is, like, when you get into that rut and nothing you do is truly easy, then you're never actually really going all that hard, too.
Right. Right.
It's folks like us who really go easy on our easy days, who bust our butts on the select days when we're intended to, at a level the moderate intensity folks never touch.
hmm
Uh, so yeah, it's sort of, they're missing out on both sides.
Well, I wonder too. It comes up a lot with all the people I talk to, where it's like fun is this central theme. And whether I've talked to pro athletes, I've talked to high level amateur athletes, and it's like enjoyment during the suffering is what makes them do it. So I kind of wonder if maybe part of the equation for the kind of moderate intensity folks is a lack of enjoying the higher end suffering. And it's like they get to say we'll go 1 to 100, they get to 50, and that's kind of their threshold of like, I don't really want to go any harder than that. I feel like I'm working hard, so obviously I'm putting some work in, but then I don't want to go to 90 because that's way too hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just complete conjecture on my part, but I kind of wonder if maybe that's part of the case for people that know better, I guess I'll say, not amateurs that just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, as a coach, that is my experience, is that um, actually, I just got through reading David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me.
Hmm
And he makes exactly the same point in there, which is like basically every endurance athlete is seeking a challenge, but they're only seeking challenge to a point.
Right.
It's only credit to anyone who chooses to, sign up for a marathon or a triathlon, because you're doing better than most people.
Yep.
But within that, self-selected population of people who enjoy a challenge, there's a subpopulation of people who are really interested in finding their limit,
hmm
just, racing, leaving it all out on the race course and preparing in a way that allows that to be possible.
Yeah. And um, I think you mentioned again in another interview, since that's why I did most of my research on you, is you mentioned basically training yourself over time to be able to get to the point that you can leave it all out on the race course. And I think for me, um, personally, I can count the number. And like I said, I've raced. This is year 19. I can probably count on one hand the number of races where I truly feel entirely satisfied that I could not have physically pushed my body any harder. And getting to that peak is, at least for me, incredibly difficult. You
Hmm.
know, the one that comes to my mind the most often was the first time I went under 16 for the 5K, and uh, I previously I'd only gone like 16:30 or so, so it was a big jump. And the last 1,000 meters of the race, my entire body was on fire. And for those not doing the quick math, 1,000 meters at that pace lasts about 3.5 minutes. So you've got 3.5 minutes of just complete agony trying to will yourself forward. And that's not even my fastest 5K, but it's the race I'm most proud of probably, because I don't know that I've achieved that level of suffering and intensity in any other setting.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are some people who just, they do it from the very first race they ever do. They just flip a switch and they leave it all out there. They're
mhm.
just uh, animals. Scott Fauble, one of the members of the pro team in Flagstaff that I trained
Mhm.
with 2 years ago, is just one of those guys where it's just, there's just, well, if he were sitting here, he would say, well, I've cultivated it,
Mhm.
but still there's just something in him.
Right.
Um, for the rest of us, we got a bootstrap our way there, but that is like the measuring stick. Yeah, there's performance, but that's why some champion athletes will they take no pleasure in winning easy, because
Mhm.
that's it's
Right.
when it comes down to it. Actually, it's not about winning. That they want to win, but they want to win and know that they found their absolute limit. And a lot of them, Dave Scott's a great example. When he
Mhm.
won Ironman 6 times, and if you ask him like, what is your absolute favorite, the race you're most proud of, he'll say it's when I got, well, second to Mark Allen in '89,
Mhm.
because it was just the greatest race ever run, and
Yeah.
it was his fastest Ironman in Hawaii ever. And then when he got second again at 40, when he came back, it's like, dude was the world champion 6 times, and his a legend. And his two favorite races, he got second
Mhm.
because those are the ones where he felt like he truly found his limit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's that matter of even if you're gonna win, like to me, you only want to win by a slim margin because you feel like, was there something more out there? Like, was I really tested both by myself, by my own mind, and by my competitors?
Right.
So I feel like there's more. And I've only recently won my first race ever, and I was satisfied with it because I had to claw back several minutes on the run. It was a triathlon. I was several minutes down on the bike and caught this gentleman on the run, and then put time into him. But anyway, it would not have been satisfying had it been, you know, I was out of the water first. He put time on me on the bike. If I had just been wire to wire, it'd been like, well, I know there's faster guys out there. Like, it wasn't satisfying.
Right.
So I think it's a matter of, at least for me, a test of both my personal aptitude and then knowing that somebody else wants it just as bad as I do,
Right.
and that I came out triumphant in that particular battle.
Yes. That's why, when I was a lot younger, I used to wonder because really I thought that all I really cared about was getting faster. And
Mm-hmm.
I used to wonder, well, when I reach a certain age and I'm not getting faster anymore, is like the rug going to get pulled out from under me?
Right.
Am I going to have no reason to want to continue doing this? And that was just naivety and immaturity. When I actually got older and sort of had to come to terms with the peak and the
Mm-hmm.
downward slope, I realized, there's a few things that keep me in it, but part of it is that you can still keep improving the mental game. Like you can,
Right.
like it's like, your ultimate limit is like this asymptote. You can get closer and closer to it. Do you ever absolutely reach it and
Right.
know it?
It always diverges to infinity. Like,
Yeah, to me, that's why I feel like I can just keep getting better. My body's not going to get stronger at this point, but I can keep getting better at that aspect of it. You know, and just things like the challenge I'm facing right now. I got pretty darn fit for this marathon in September. Then I had a setback. And now I'm actually just really enjoying the challenge of scrambling. I love that term from golf. You know, you hit an errant tee shot, the plan goes out the window because the ball ends up in a lie that you never practice for. So you have to fall back on, a lot of stuff. You gotta keep a level head. You've got to just fall back on the experience you've acquired over time. And some people are really good scramblers, and that's what I'm doing as a runner right now. And, I was telling a guy I coach recently, just sort of asking me how it's going. And I said, my goal at this point is to imagine there are 100 different people in exactly the same situation I'm in. I want to manage this thing better than the other 99. Like that will be winning for me. Like, I know I'm not going to run the time in the marathon that I would have if I hadn't had the setback. Whatever that time ends up being, I'll be satisfied or dissatisfied to one degree or another. But the ultimate satisfaction will be knowing, oh yeah, I could not have managed these last several weeks since I had the setback any better. And it's fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of the game, right? Is just like we were talking about earlier, dealing with it as it comes, whatever it is. So,
right.